All right, Corey, Levi, I know that sometimes when you go into comic book adaptations like this, it's either, read the comic, get familiar with the story, or don't read the comic, we don't want you to be influenced with the story. So going into this, how familiar were you with Peter Hogan's original work?
I was not familiar with it, and my wife, once I booked the show, she bought me the first episode or the first issue. Sorry, thinking television, first issue of and I read that one, and then Chris was like, maybe keep yourself open, maybe don't read it too much because we're taking the foundation, but we're kind of building something different. So I don't want you to be expecting one thing and something else happens. So from there, I just been reading the scripts as opposed to following the comic all the way through.
Yeah, and I remember asking Chris specifically. I was like, should I, I want to like be as prepared as possible. Should I read the comics? And he was like, no, your character is basically not you in the comics. He's kind of this like older, like used car salesman of a mayor with like a plaid jacket and stuff. And also there was going to be kind of a almost like a spoiler of like what was going to happen in this season that we were filming. So I kind of wanted to wait until we were done filming to read the comics. So I actually just ordered the comics and I'm waiting for them to get here so I can read them.
Nice. Now I feel
like my character is very different in the comics as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say that speaking of different, I feel like you guys' characters actually couldn't be more different, especially early on in the season. So kind of talk about both you guys, the dynamic between the two of them.
I think there's a lot of asymmetry between the two of them, whereas Sheriff Mike is confident and loud and aggressive and set in his ways. I think Mayor Ben is kind and compassionate and understanding and patient. Where
naive. They're naive.
Maybe a little naive. And I think that Mike sees a lot of that as a weakness. But ultimately, I think the two of them together, I was just talking about this a second ago. I kind of feel like the two of them together is kind of like a Reese's Pieces, the chocolate and the peanut butter coming together, and it makes something delicious. Because when we're in scenes together, we can play off of each other, off of those two characters and their differences, and have a lot of fun with it. But they are very different, very different.
I like the Reese's Pieces. I haven't heard you.
I love Reese's Pieces too. So I mean,
there you go,
let's
man.
do that. Let's do that. Yeah,
that makes sense, right? Yeah, it'd be like, hey, you got your chocolate in my peanut butter. Hey, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate. And then you remember those commercials?
Great combination.
People were walking, they bump into each other, and their
Yes.
chocolate falling. So that's kind of what we are.
So now, Corey, it seems like the sheriff's radar is way up when it comes to Harry. Is it just good instincts, you think, being a good cop, or is Harry just that weird?
I think Sheriff Mike is suspicious of everyone but himself. I think he sees everyone as having something to hide, and I think he also sees himself and his sheriff's department to a lesser degree than himself, but himself as the only thing keeping patients from like turning into Mad Max world. Like I think he sees himself as the arbiter of protection for the city, and he takes it very seriously. But I think obviously, I don't think there's nearly enough crime, well, up until Harry's arrival, to warrant such suspicion on his part.
So, Levi, this might be a teeny bit of a spoiler for the premiere, but Ben's son, Max, actually has a pretty big secret in this first episode. But as a dad myself, I know that kids can come up with some crazy stuff. So how much will that secret actually play out in future episodes?
It's a big part of, especially Mayor Ben's my storyline in the show. I mean, because it kind of. Yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm not quite sure how much I can say about this either. But obviously when Max first is like the doctor's an alien, we're like, okay, like he's having like a childlike fantasy. But then he kind of refuses to let that go and move on from it. And so we start to, it goes from being like, oh, kids will be kids, to like, oh, is there something wrong with our kid? Like, do we need to seek professional help with this? And so that becomes a bit of the storyline as well that we'll see in later episodes.
Now, Corey, you talked about how hard-nosed the sheriff actually was. What do you think makes Liv the perfect partner for him?
Her patience with him, her unique ability to see kindness where others cannot. I think that she's the first one to completely see Mike as the insecure person he really is. And I think that first of all, I love Elizabeth Bowen. She's the best partner that you could have, like whether it be on the police force or as an actor with scene work. She is freaking fucking fantastic. But I think that she's also rooted in the town. She's been there her whole life, and she has a kindness to her and a warmth to her that kind of helps melt the ice of him a little bit. I think ultimately, if she can see something in him that others cannot see, then the audience may also see something like that, as well. Because I told Chris, I was like, I don't know how long people gonna like Sheriff Mike with him just being fucking mean to everybody every fucking episode. You know what I mean? I don't know how long we're gonna be able to, play that. But she brings something out in him over the course of the season that I think will be difficult and maybe eventually wonderful for the audience to experience.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait for everybody to see it.
Thank you, James. Be well, brother.
Thank you.